んじゃん。その子友達？
え、メイド？
うちにも来て。今日はハロウィンスイーツがあるから。
二人はコスプレしないの？
いや、興味ないし。
何言ってんの！
これ、吸血鬼。
意外と似合ってるよ。
意外と。
Call the Night Season 2 Episode 9, my friends. This was a good episode. I think this was, even though it was morbid, I think it was still a fun episode of Call of the Night, right? This was featuring Anko and her disdain and maniacal ways. She was hunting vampires this episode, and she was shooting them with a gun, which is really weird. How do you get a gun in Japan? They have really strict gun laws. But let's just say, she's a thuggish, ruggish bone. So she had a gun, and she was going through and shooting vampires on Halloween. Although Halloween christens the night that her dad turned into a vampire, hurt her, killed her mom, and she had to kill her dad. So, very morbid stuff. But she's out hunting vampires, kinda. And she is having a ball. Like, she is having, like, what I would describe as, like, a schizophrenic crash out. And she's dressing up and hunting them and showing them that, she can get to them at any time, right? I think, really, she's not going to go and kill them necessarily, but she's making a point that she could if she wanted to. That leads her to finding Nazuna, at the end of the episode, in her classroom where her and Nazuna first became friends. And Nazuna was aware of Anko the whole time, and she wanted to believe that it wasn't her, but, it ended up being her. So I think it's going to come to a culmination of her versus Anko and whatever that may or may not entail. Again, I mentioned it the last episode, but I think Anko realizes that not all vampires per se are bad, but there's something in here to where it's like something broke, because she was down to be one, right? But when she found out that her parents did care and her dad wanted to make an effort, and then the things that happened, something just broke upstairs, and that's kind of what's driven her action since. So I think this episode it was very purposeful. I think it made a lot of sense. It showed a crazy side of Anko, which you kind of need to be crazy to do what she does and hunt vampires and be a PI and all the things that come with that. So I think that makes a lot of sense. The other thing to highlight is Akira within this episode in a maid outfit. And as you guys know, or maybe you don't know, Akira is my favorite character in the show. I think that, 𝐒𝐻 should end up with her. I think she just makes the most sense. She's gorgeous. She's of age, appropriate age for him. She is his tie to his humanity. But 𝐒𝐻 has chosen the, Nazuna vampire life. And I think, hey, I don't get it, but I think people get it. So, yeah. So overall, I think this episode was really fun. It was a little kooky, a little crazy. But this is kind of what I want from Call of the Night, is like that craziness, that pizzazz that it has had in season 1. And I think they had a little bit of that, showing the Anko craze and the Halloween. And yeah, I just think it had that. So this was a really good episode of Call of the Night. I think one of the better ones of the season so far. And definitely showed a crazy side. And it's all culminating to Nazuna versus Anko, which should be, I don't know what's going to happen. Are we going to have forgiveness? Are we going to get into a place where they fight? This Anko girl, like, she embarrassed 𝐴𝐻𝐿. Like, she put him in a trash can. She went ta-ta-ta-ta and put him in a trash can, which was pretty fun. So we'll see what ends up happening, but like, this was a good episode, and yeah, we'll see you guys again next week. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments below. I would say this is an easy 8 out of 10 for episode number 9 of Call of the Night. The end of the episode had suicide prevention, which was super morbid, but yeah. thought I would call that out because I paused on the screen for that, and I was like, oh yeah, hey, look at that. It's a good thing resource to have. But anyways, let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. This was an 8 out of 10 episode. Really good episode of Call of the Night. One of the better ones. If not, probably top 2 episodes of the season so far. All right, friends. I'm going to see you guys next week for the next episode of Call of the Night. We have 3 episodes left. So I'll see you then. Peace.